Good evening and welcome to my presentation on Biogen. I'm a Fortune 500 company focusing in biotechnology and pharmaceuticals. My name is Joshua Prater and this is for Strategic Management MBA 690. Biogen is one of the leading organizations within the pharmaceutical market space, has 14 FDA approved therapies for a variety of neurological disorders, as well as more than 30 pharmaceutical products in the research and development pipeline. Biogen was founded in 1978 by a group of small scientists whose goal was really to impact the biotechnology industry. Key members of the founding team included Kenneth Murray and Philip Sharp of MIT, as well as Walter Gilbert of Harvard. Two of these members went on to win Nobel Prizes for their work in DNA sequencing and vaccine development. This organization then went public in 1982 and was listed as a global organization in 1983. Their first FDA approval occurred in 1989, part of a vaccine. And then in 2010, Biogen, having expanded in a variety of different sub-markets within the pharmaceutical industry, really focused its strategy on three key areas: immunology, neurology, and hemophilia. Biogen later in 2017 actually spun off the hemophilia market into its own company known as Biogen, and also has a robust M&A strategy, acquiring companies such as Syntonic Pharmaceuticals, Accorda Pharmaceuticals, and Convergence Pharmaceuticals. Excuse me. Biogen has a mission or a mission statement that's very simple and effective. Be a pioneer in neuroscience. Biogen really backs this up by explaining that they have a passion for patients, employees, environments, and the communities in which people live and work. This commitment to patients really seems to be the key within the strategic mission. Biogen has committed to increase technology and engineering capabilities over the next 5 years, a plan to increase access to medicine and an increase in scientific education as well. This improvement on the lives of patients, while also adhering to sound business principles, really is the backbone of Biogen's mission and strategy. Biogen doesn't have a clearly defined vision statement. This is an area where Biogen could improve. Their corporate governance, as well as public reports such as their 10K, does mention language surrounding environmental sustainability, cultivating a positive and innovative corporate culture, and maximizing science and scientific education. While this vision and statement may occur internally or may exist internally, Biogen hasn't been clear about it to the market, and this presents an opportunity for Biogen to be more clearly defined on the vision of the organization to both its customers, its employees, and its investors. Biogen is what's known as a B2B organization, or a business-to-business model. What this means is Biogen cannot sell to the end users of the products or the patients. They must sell to pharmacies and work with educating doctors to prescribe Biogen products. Because of this, Biogen has a robust R&D and sales team. The research and innovation team really drive forward the science that improves customer lives, and uses a team called MSL teams, or medical science liaison teams, in order to increase education to the market space from a doctor's perspective. And sales teams work with both doctors and pharmacies to ensure that their product is meeting the end user's needs. When it comes to a value chain, we've mentioned about a few divisions already that add value to the product, but also the marketing and sales divisions obviously add value to the product through the recognition and medical awareness. The operations and manufacturing also adds a primary value add, or a primary add to the value chain. By improving manufacturing, Biogen can increase efficiency and drive the value of a product up as costs of creating the product are lowered. And finally, customer service and scientific education are also primary activities that add value to the firm. This ensures scientific rigor in the prescription process and provides timely customer service when problems or questions arise with the product. Secondary activities that also must be considered in the value of Biogen as well as the products. The finance department serves to allocate investment into new research areas. The HR department increases value by staffing the primary activities and engaging those employees in satisfied work. And the IT organization uses technology innovations to improve efficiency and efficacy of the primary activities. When it comes to the competitive strategy that Biogen implements, the primary competitive strategy that Biogen uses is what's called differentiation. Biogen has a small list of competitors. The barriers to entry in the neurology market are incredibly high. There's so many different aspects of FDA regulation and other high barriers to entry, lots of capital required to enter the market. And so typically the price on these products are not sensitive. These are necessary things to improve patients' lives. So Biogen looks to differentiate these products by adding value to the product, either from a feasibility and truly being the best product on the market, or by, in cases such as the biosimilar generic market, adopting a focus best value model in which the product is focused on a specific need and provides the best value to the customer or to the consumer of that product. A quick five forces analysis. We touched on threat of new entrants already. The bargaining power of suppliers is typically low, as suppliers in the pharmaceutical industry tend to have a low necessary portion of their product into the product of Biogen as a whole. What that means is that Biogen can source these raw materials from a variety of different vendors. The bargaining power of buyers is often unique. We talked a little bit about the generic market and how that can increase the bargaining power of buyers by choosing to use a generic instead of the organization such as Biogen or another organization that actually created that therapy. So the power of buyers can be high. The threat of substitutes when discussing generics also can be high at that time. And industry rivalry. Pharmaceutical companies make billions of dollars every year, and industry rivalry continues to remain high. Biogen has a very, very long and complex ethics list, and that really starts with the credo of caring deeply, working fiercely, and changing lives. They also have a code of conduct which outlines how the organization interacts with patients, how the organization interacts with science and science education, and also kind of standardized code of conduct ensuring equality in the workplace, ensuring anti-harassment and other things like that in accordance with U.S. law. Biogen also employs a variety of privacy policies for HIPAA and other patient confidentiality information. However, Biogen's ethics have not always been in line with their ethics policies. Even recently, as of 2017, Biogen was in the news for breaking its own whistleblower policy and actually firing a whistleblower who noted that people of their team were acting unethically. This will be discussed in the recommendations section later on. Brief SWOT analysis. Biogen has opportunities as the market is expanding and globalization is also making access to pharmaceuticals easier than ever. There are threats in their MS market, which is the 40% of revenue that the market that Biogen generates. There are strengths in their strong brand portfolio, their research and development, and their customer loyalty. And weaknesses, Biogen carries higher inventory than most other competitors in the market space, and marketing issues as well. Brief discussion about the Boston Consulting Group matrix and looking at where Biogen's moneymakers really lie. The neuromuscular disorders and multiple sclerosis tend to be between cash cows and stars, and Alzheimer's has a chance to really be a star as a market for Biogen. However, this is also the potentially the most risk. We also want to weigh the value of changing strategies. We do that through a QSPM matrix. Two strategies are weighed here. The realignment of the Alzheimer's line, as well as creating a new marketing strategy for the highest selling market segment, which is MS. This QSPM matrix identified the realignment of the Alzheimer's line to be the more lucrative strategy. However, we must also consider the risk of such a strategy as well, and so we'll be discussing these in the recommendations section. Brief financial analysis here. Biogen had a very difficult year in FY21 with the impact of COVID-19, really limiting the diagnosis of new neuromuscular disorders. And Biogen expects and forecasts a significant comeback as things begin to open in FY22. In order to drive forward, Biogen must do three things. They must establish an ethics committee to realign how the operation functions, how the organization functions in regards to ethics and in regards to adherence to the ethical code of conduct that Biogen lays forward. They must align the multiple sclerosis marketing as well as the market presence that they have in multiple sclerosis. And they must capitalize on Alzheimer's disease and the Alzheimer's disease market space that they have. You can see here on the left-hand side that Biogen is currently marketing Aduhelm, which we discussed as has a potential to be really positive for the market, but also has been heavily under fire for maybe a lack of efficacy. Biogen should be leaning heavily into the second therapy that's mentioned here, and should also be seeking to better educate the market about what is really the goal of treating Alzheimer's. Is treating Alzheimer's looking for improvement or looking for a stasis state? And currently Biogen has not been clear on educating the market in regards to Alzheimer's. When we forecast this performance, the realignment of the MS market space is really a place that Biogen can quickly make quite a bit of revenue. And capturing even a 5% market share should see the revenues of their MS products jump from 1.9 billion to potentially 2.6 billion in FY22 and FY23. The Alzheimer's area is where this firm can expect massive growth. Revenues in 2021 were only 45 million. If the strategic implementation of realignment of the industry can occur, Biogen could easily exceed 100 million to 150 million dollars, basing on the reapproval of the drug and the approval of the new solution. Biogen also has mentioned that they expect this Q4 to really be a strong Q4 for them for the Alzheimer's segment. Biogen should measure success based on a 5% market share per submarket, both Alzheimer's and MS. Biogen should measure obviously overall revenue, but also market share, stock price, customer loyalty, and doctor feedback to understand how these implementations are working in the market space, and should constantly be asking the question, how does the market feel about these offerings now? Thank you for your time.